Welcome to the Reclamation Point Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Moetown Lee, and riding shotgun is my partner,
Dr. Ed Garnes, pouring the sweet tea ethics that you know and also love.
He in rehab. I don't know if for the people listening,
I'm coming off the plane, you know what I'm saying?
He's been slacking.
Yeah, I have.
On his sweet tea. So
yes.
I don't know what's going on with the brother. Maybe
all this traveling, man. You know,
he been in some parts of the country that don't have sweet tea. They got tea, but it ain't sweet.
Yeah, it ain't sweet at all.
You know, but everything that's going on, Ed,
man,
my brother.
I don't know. I'm feeling very practical today. You know,
are you?
Like, yeah, you know, like some strategies or something. You know.
So, all right, let's get into it. So, we always start from a place where, you know, from here. So let's talk about support, having a support system. Let's talk. It is. I think that a lot of, you know what? I think this. That's not that I think. Everyone and everything we do, we need some sort of support, whether it's financial, whether it's just backing, whether it's promotion. No, there's always a level of support. And when you talk about mental health, you have to have a system of support. For me, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have this support system. I had other people to support me, other people to push me, but if I didn't have like this brother Ed, you know, had that conversation to open up the door for me to actually to seek help, and I didn't have that support when I was struggling through this dark period that I didn't even realize I was in. If I didn't have that support, I don't know where I would be.
I appreciate it.
And
it's funny how that conversation actually launched this podcast.
Exactly. You wouldn't be here with us if it wasn't for that conversation and that support. And so with that support, that's what we want to talk about. Having a support during mental health crisis. And also, we're going to talk about developing rituals and positive mental health strategies to help us get to the point where we need to be or move towards that direction.
Yeah.
So again, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dr. Ed, right? And I'm sure Dr. Ed wouldn't be here if it wasn't for other people who shown no support. So Ed, like, what are some of the things that, first of all, what are the signs? Is it people coming to you asking? Do we ask, or what are the signs that you see that, like, all right, this person needs help?
Yeah. So when you think about mental health, you know, don't think too deeply about it, right? So if in the black community someone is using language like, you know, I'm having the blues, or, you know, I just ain't I had some bad days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's normally an indication that someone's mood is changing, right? And so when we start talking about mood, you know, mood disorders are things like depression and anxiety. So listening for that type of thing, right? If someone's behavior seems off, you know, I'm animated, and even though you're joking, you've already noticed that 2 episodes I didn't have sweet tea. You noticed that, right? That would be a change in normal behavior. So when someone is naturally a pleasant person and they're angry, or if someone is a naturally angry person and they're now pleasant, that is a change in behavior. So looking for those things, because very rarely do black men say, "Hi, I'm in the middle of a mental health crisis." But just like you and the Rams, if your season ticket holder for the Hawks has not attended in 2 months, problem. You know what I'm saying? All right. And anytime someone is in a life transition is a good time to check on them. Life transitions, change in job, are unemployed, divorce, okay? If you're in school, bad grades, things that might throw you out of pocket in the life transition moment. People could be in mental health crisis. So look for those inconsistencies. Because people very rarely, even clients I deal with, do not operationalize their problems as mental health concerns. So you have to read between the lines, especially for black men and black people.
So, question, right? Because I'll give, let's take it to commonality.
Yeah.
What people do, what most of us do, and how do we pursue, or how does somebody help or lend a hand, right? When you deal with brothers who are extremely prideful, or when you did, who say nothing wrong or they hide it. What are some, because do you really, like, you see change in behavior, but what if they're good at masking?
Oh, yeah. That's a good
those
point.
Changes.
That's a good point, because one of the things we done mastered as black men, you ain't gonna know how we feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I give you a perfect example. I try to be up with my peoples to know when transitional moments happen. So I give you a perfect example. All of us have lost a lot of people recently, right? So what do I know that's going to happen when a black man has lost something? He's going to be strong for his family. If he's married, he's going to be strong for his wife or his kids. Or, our role is protecting everybody else's emotions. Is the paperwork right? That's what we feel that we have to do at funerals and when we're grieving. No one, when a black man has lost someone, says, "How are you doing? How are you processing? Have you had some time to yourself?" So one of the things I do in paying attention, especially for brothers, is that I reach out in those moments and I allow them to speak, as opposed to imposing my viewpoint. Because, once people know you're a counselor, you got to really be delicate on how you approach something. So it might be, "Hey, man, heard Uncle Leroy pass. Are you good?" They might beat around the bush, and I might say, sometimes death is hard, man. Sometimes we might have some mixed emotions. However you feeling in this moment is okay. And the floodgates open. All I said, however you're feeling in this moment is okay. But what I did was I validated if they did have something to say, I was open to hearing it.
Because when you talk about support and going through things, I think that support looks it's a lot of different ways. Yeah. When you're facing a crisis, that can look be a lot of different ways. Perception and what people think and believe as it pertains to the situation that you're going through can skew you anyway. Perfect example, and this is something that we discussed and we wanted to talk about also. I was having I won't talk about the company, but I was at a job.
Ooh, I know what job this is.
And to perception, the way people looked at the job, they was like, man, the owner of the company loves you, let you do whatever you want. They paying you all this money, and they don't, you had this freedom. But bruh, in the inside, I hated that job. Yeah. There's never been a time in my life that I've ever hated a job. Never had a job that I hated because I only do what I love.
Yeah, that's your MO.
So that particular time, I hated it, and I hated it because I bore the burden of like, all right, they brought me in, and I'm cool with the owner, and he's this billionaire guy, and he, loves me, and then I fail. Everyone else, they ain't never gonna give anybody else like me an opportunity. But so I stuck it out, and I tried to write it out. And they're paying me all this money, and everyone is like, "Dude, paying you that? Like, you got it gravy." Like, but I hated it. Why? I hated it because it wasn't me.
Okay.
You know what I mean, I hated it because I'm surrounded by people I dislike.
Okay.
I'm surrounded by people who obvious that if I wasn't around, they clearly disliked me. You know what I mean? It showed it in their actions. They didn't do things to directly affect me, per se. Like, oh yeah, they called me a nigga to my face and none of these things. But I've seen them do so many things to other people. And I just couldn't sit there and watch it. You know what I mean? And we creating these programs, and we get to the ninth inning or get to the finish line of the programs. They're like, yeah, let's work on something else. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all just want to make it look like we're doing these programs. And you're like, yeah, but you paying me all this money. And so I never complained, right? And the two people who I expressed, like, I don't really like it here. Like, this ain't me. Right? I didn't talk about, like, there's times I got bit by a dog at one of the properties. And, you know what I mean? This was during the time of the election. And so, like, you would see people who automatically assume certain things because I was a black man and I'm coming on these campuses and they doing all this and that and the other. And so I the two people I complained to, both were extremely close, but one jokingly didn't really support me in my, like,
what you were saying.
I'm trying to leave this. I'm looking for an out mission. Like, I'm dipping. And it was like, damn, they paying you all much. I would have took that job. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't me. And the fact that when that person joked about it, I never talked to that person again about the job. I never talked to that person about how much I was struggling and how much that being there worked, just tore me down. And it tore me down not because people equate everything like money, and they're paying you all this money and all these things. And I'm like, hey, dog, I feel like a sellout. Not that I'm selling my people out, but I'm selling myself out.
Your soul was uneasy.
You know what I'm saying? And so not having that person's support, and I don't even know if they realized that they didn't support me. Just realized it was joking, and I'm like, hey, look, a check ain't nothing to me. If I find another check, and I was happy when I was broke, so I'm not gonna be unhappy, like be this person that's pushing to be rich and be unhappy. Like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna be that person that goes to work and complain about a job every day. Like, I hate the people I work with, this, that, and the other. I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Because then I'm going to be perceived as this angry black man, and I'm going to do something like detrimental to every other black man or every other black person that tries to get this job after me. This is how they see me, right? So in that, taking that scenario, right?
Yes.
I'm coming to you, I'm like, Ed, this is the scenario, right? How do you say, or what does support look like in that? Is the support, joking or try to make light of the situation? Like, what is it?
Well, when you are seeking support, what you are seeking is affirmation and validation for what you're going through. So joking in certain moments, I'm a major comedian.
Right.
That when it's time for affirmation and validation, it's not joke time. But I would go backwards a little bit. What you basically described was the psychological burden of representation and being in a space where black men are traditionally not there. So the burden of representation causes racialized stress, right? So knowing that in my background, I'm going to affirm how you are feeling to create a space to really see what you're dealing with, right? And so at that point, in helping anyone regardless of issue, everyone wants two things, especially black men: affirmation and validation for their own humanity, meaning that people see you, see what you're going through, have an appreciation for you. Like that's a human need, right? So that's one thing. And the second thing is everyone wants help. So I would know if you are coming to me for help, you're looking for for validation and affirmation, and I would also start the conversation and not assume and say, Mo, how can I be most helpful to you right now? I might have said this to you in other conversations, and so if I ask, how can I be most helpful to you? I'm not dictating the help you need. I'm allowing you to express what you need in the moment.
And that's, I think,
because I could think you need a chicken wing conference, but when I ask, how can I help you? You like, no, my soul is tired.
Right.
That's different than needing a chicken wing conference. You know what I'm saying? So ask people how you can support them in this moment. How can I best serve you in this moment?
Right, because boy, I tell you, I was going through it, and I think that is important because we have to know what support looks like. We have to know how to support. So many people don't know how to ask for help. So many people, sometimes they feel like they don't need help, but they just being expressive on how they feel about their current situation.
We call this reflection of feeling in the counseling world, but I might reflect back to you, man. What you described, that sounds taxing, Mo. It sounds exhausting. And then you might be like, you know what? I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? But I'm reflecting back to you what I have heard you say.
Right.
That's also support. This sounds difficult, Mo. You've never chased a check. You've always checked meaning in your life. What's making you chase this check over meaning? That don't sound like you, Mo.
Yeah.
I'm reflecting back even what you told me.
So let's get personal. Let's get more.
Let's go.
I mean, because that was personal.
Yeah.
But let's take that same situation of support to a bad relationship.
Ooh.
How do you, as a professional, show your support and push somebody to
leave a bad relationship?
I don't even know because I don't think you personally can say leave.
No, I can't.
You can personally, my approach, like, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, your approach is, hey, if this is hurting your well-being, you need to focus on some things that you need to do to help you. Like, so what does that look like?
Bad relationship? A man is in a bad relationship?
Mm-hmm. And the support, your professional support in that.
No, most of the time, by the time someone has come to therapy about a relationship, the relationship is mostly over. Yeah, because people wait so long. So I probably in the first 30 minutes know the relationship ain't going anywhere. All right, it's done. You know what I'm saying? So I can't let on to the client that I see doomsday in 2 weeks. All right. Most people that have come to me for relationship counseling are couples that I have counseled. I knew in the very beginning the relationship was over. And then if it's a couple, one of the people know that it's over and they're just coming to counseling to not hurt the other person. But if it's one-on-one, the brother Yeah, most of the time when couples have come to me in my 20 years in this therapy game, if it's a couple, it's always one person. They know the relationship is over. They're just there so they won't hurt the other person's feelings because the other person really wants this relationship.
And you know this. I'll tell you, this the soundbite. This is gonna be the clip that we use. Like, damn.
Yeah. So if it's an individual, I can see the train wreck. I can see the inconsistencies. I can see the negative things that they've done to damage their own relationship. So when someone comes to relationship advice, I'm going to ask them, how best can I serve you? So if they say they want a relationship advice, what I try to do is point out inconsistencies. So I listen for inconsistency. So what is an inconsistency? I just want a sister to appreciate me, you know what I'm saying? To come and love me, like I'm supposed to be loved. And, I just don't feel appreciated. I was like, tell me about any acts of kindness or any things that you do to show appreciation to your significant other. And so if they say, I don't know what you're talking about, man, the woman is supposed to serve me, then I point out the inconsistencies that you want something that you are unwilling to give. So no relationship will work if you are unwilling to give what you want and what you're asking for. And then for men, I'm also going to address toxic notions of masculinity around emotional expression. And I might say inconsistency. So you're expecting your partner to read your mind. What do you mean, dog? Read my mind. I was like, you're asking for these things and have never vocalized to your partner what you need.
Damn.
And then, especially for brothers, and what's so crazy, people think that toxic masculinity is a heterosexual trait, but I have had couples of all varying expressions, and they all struggle with this as men. These toxic notions around emotional expression damages almost every male's relationship that I've counseled.
Really?
Mm-hmm. This is abnormal, Mo. We have a podcast based on emotional expression. Ain't a lot of podcasts talking about this, right? So it's so simple and fundamental, but just being able to be comfortable being vulnerable and expressing emotions is a necessary component, but it's the one thing that men refuse to do.
Damn.
Because in a relationship, you have to be concerned and consider another person. When you are toxically masculine, you believe everyone is supposed to serve you and your needs. You can't get what you are unwilling to give. Can't get it.
Damn. And it's I mean, when you think about that, like, damn. For me, first of all,
what was shocking? Because
it wasn't shocking, okay. But I think that it was shocking. It wasn't shocking. It was revealing when you said that most people that go to counseling, one person already knows it's over. They just don't want to hurt the other person.
Every time.
When you think about that, you like,
every time.
Damn.
I'm talking about 20 years of dealing with couples. Every time, it's one person is out of the relationship. They've not vocalized it, but I know that they're done. Sometimes they vocalize it, but they're just there to be there, to not hurt, to let the person down easy. Or sometimes the court has demanded that they come to therapy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's volunteer, but one person in the dynamic is done.
Damn.
And here's the reason: we wait too long. Go to therapy about your relationship in the beginning. Go in the beginning. And if you go in the beginning, be like, okay, she like rice cakes. She's a vegan. She likes a needle baker. Okay, she needs romance. Go in the beginning. And then what she know about you? Okay, don't bother you on Sunday. You gonna do all the other stuff during the week. Don't bother you on Sunday because you gonna snap because you need to watch your football. Okay, you like a good chicken wing conference. You gonna do everything, and then you might not be a morning person. So in that counseling session, you're telling your partner as a man or however you identify, I'm not a morning person. Let's have them conversations in the evening when my mind is clicking. Because, sometimes if you're not I'm not a morning person. So sometimes my significant other wants to have those deep conversations when I've just woken up. And I had to learn to say, you know what? I'm being a little mean right now. I'm really not a morning person. Can we kind of table that? But that person knew that about me early, and so we make those adjustments. But go to counseling when you first meet someone, not when you're in trouble.
Not when you're, damn.
Because it's too late. I'm telling you, everyone I've dealt with, it is too late to save the relationship.
Like a boxer being on the rope, looking for that bell.
I mean, I even look at my own parents. By the time they had even thought about it, or it was a thought to even go to therapy, it was over. My parents got divorced in my 20s. The relationship was over when I was in 4th grade. Okay.
Hell no.
Yes. Yes. And since we talk personally, I put in the suggestion box that my 4th grade teacher had, what do you do when your parents gonna get divorced? Because I thought they were getting divorced because every morning was an argument. It was an argument on who was picking me up, who was taking me to practice, who was buying this, who was doing that. So even in 4th grade, I was like, this can't work out good. Like, I knew that in 4th grade. By the time they wanted to go to a therapy, or it was some kind of discussion, I even talked to my dad about this. I was like, you ever thought about, because this is a little toxic, Dad. I didn't say it like that, but I was like, Dad, have you ever considered? By the time they would have even went, and been too late, man.
Damn.
The therapist would have said, you know what, this relationship was over in the 80s. It might be best to just cut your losses.
So you just damn.
But yeah, man, most of the time, start early.
And so it's just, when that junk hit, it's when it's late, it's late. When it's over, it's over.
Because you got to think about this. We've talked about this before, and not just in the context of relationships. It's because we see therapy and healing solutions as reactive. So something has to happen. We have to get down in the dumps. Some kind of tragedy or trauma has to happen to take us to therapy. We have to see therapy as reactive. As proactive versus reactive. Also, if you go at the beginning, being proactive is the best mental health strategy you can have.
Damn.
Because we got to look at mental health like money. We look at mental health as an exercise. I'll get to it after work. Or, well, after I make my first million, I get to my mental health. You have to make deposits into your mental health bank account daily. So when life circumstances happen, you can try to stay in the black. But what happens with each crisis, each trauma, our bank account is going like this. And we're trying to continue to salvage a relationship in our life, and our mental health bank account is in the red. The more we can fill that bank account up with daily practices that facilitate joy and good mental health, then when things happen, we have the emotional and psychological resources to cope.
Damn. That is that is so simple yet so powerful.
Yeah.
Look
at it like money. And most of the time when I tell my clients to look at it like money, everybody gets it when I say that.
Just like a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Store something
working
aside.
from behind.
Store something aside.
So, with that being said, what is 5 ways of dealing with workplace or relationship like stress that will help every day in your mental health?
I will say the first strategy for dealing with relationships, workplace, or any structure is the more you understand and know yourself and develop yourself, the better you can deal with any situation. So self-development, knowing yourself, meaning you got to recognize when something is toxic. You got to recognize what's positive. You got to recognize what kind of work ethic you got to have in this situation. You got to realize, that person I ain't really feeling that person, or I'm going to hurt this, I'm going to mess this girl's life up because I'm not ready for love. Like, know yourself, right? That would be the first strategy. The second strategy would be to develop your own unique healing ritual, meaning that you have a process that you go to in difficult moments that ramps up your resilience, your healing process. So what does that look like for me? Before each episode, I spend 2 hours meditating, not doing nothing, just to prepare for the conversations that we have on this show. I do that every time we have. So in the morning, chilling, doing that. That's my healing ritual, jazz meditations, right? So you have to develop something that is your go-to strategy that when stressed can be successful for you. So develop a healing ritual. I like sweet tea, jazz, chicken wing conference. Those are my healing rituals. And I'm consistent about that. So that's the second thing. The third thing would be to have wise counsel that can advise you on things that you lack knowledge in. So, me, for example, I'm in the discipline of psychology necessitates that you have great mentorship as a black person to get through things. So when I encounter difficulty, we all make these cognitive appraisals where we have to appraise, is this stressful? Oh, I have the resources or I don't have the resources. So if I appraise something I don't have the resources, wise counsel and mentorship, not advisement. Advisement is, hey, dealers is having a sale. I advise you to go get some polos. That's advisement. Mentorship is someone knowing you, understanding your divine purpose, and giving you specific advice that only works for you. That's mentorship. So that would be the third thing. The fourth thing would be life is all about the remix. The earlier in your life that you accept that challenge and difficulty is a part of the developmental process, the better that you will be. So understand life is a constant remix. And then 5, especially for black men and black people, is that rest is revolutionary. I do not know a black person that does not work hard, but I do not know many black people that get enough rest. And I'm not just talking about sleep. I'm talking about releasing yourself from burdens and not yielding to this American ideal. Work.
Right.
We need a song. Rest. When you feel your best, you rest. That's what we need to be talking about. Okay. Rest. Because here's what happened.
Eat butterflies, y'all.
I know. I was like, I'm feeling good. And this is no sweet tea, so I'm really feeling good. But the reason that we underestimate rest is how the body recalibrates and the mind. When you don't rest physically or mentally, you have cognitive delay. Have you ever been stressed or haven't been taking care of your mental health and like your brain just it's not firing? Like you like, I can't think of the manager for one. What's the manager I need to call for one music fest? Cognitive delay. You stressed out.
You know what? Not to cut you off, but that is something I think I know so many people close to me. Mm-hmm. They can't sleep.
Yeah.
They can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And now they do melatonin and edibles and all of these things. And I don't know what to tell them, right? I'm just like, clearly, me not being a professional, I'm like, there's something going on mentally.
Yeah, rest.
To be able to sleep.
Yeah, rest. The inability to sleep or sleeping too much, that's symptomatic of a lot of things. The top 2 would be anxiety and depression. That's something anxiety and depression have in common. Excessive worry, that's anxiety, keep you up. Depression, going low, keep you up. And you can have too much sleep, not enough sleep. So sleep disturbance is a telltale sign that someone is struggling mentally. So when you have sleep disturbance, you know what I'm saying? What are some strategies for sleep?
Yeah, but what do you tell, because I know people who say they have a therapist, but I'm like, do you talk to your therapist about the sleeping and stuff?
Okay. I mean, so for sleep, I would just tell them, sometimes when we can't sleep, it's stuff on our mind, might be stuff troubling us that we're unaware about. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like you dealing with something? Because, sometimes not getting enough sleep or not being able to go to sleep is normally an indication something else is going on. That's probably what I would say. Might be an indication something else is going on.
That's crazy. Dick Gregory talked about the two silent and leading killers of black people was that we don't talk about is sleep deprivation and dehydration.
Yes. You can feel like you're dying from being dehydrated. So the reason why sleep is important is restorative mentally. So think about everything that you deal with in process. If you don't shut off, you're just dealing with those things constantly and you're constantly being in the loop. And so to close that loop, rest, and not just sleeping, but rest is important. Like, I don't know if I ever talked about this, but each week, in the day may vary, I have at least one do nothing day. Don't ask me for nothing. I'm not going nowhere. Chilling. You know what I'm saying? And then for me, the reason why I struggled so much in my PhD program beyond the racism is that you're expected to work in toxically productive ways that go against my value system in how I work. And so I had to adjust that, because in order to keep up with the busy work, I had to upset my normal process of how I heal. So I had to develop a healing strategy to deal with the toxic world of academia. Academia think it's cool not to sleep. People brag about it. We need to brag about how much rest we got. So that's what I would say. And then also let them know that if they're taking sleep aids, it's going to hit a breaking point where those aids no longer work. So you still going to have to go through the mental process of figuring out why you're not sleeping.
Damn.
So it's unavoidable that you're going to have to do some mental health work.
All right. With that being said, this has been another episode of the Reclamation Point podcast. And I think
he still messed up over the two people, one person. Okay,
it was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, sheesh. I know some people like,
yeah.
Man, your relationship is over.
Yeah.
But each week we always we hear and we always are try our best to leave you with some of the tools that you need to be better. We're not perfect, but we try to help. It is more perfect than me. I'm horrible.
No. I am not perfect. There's the perception because of what I do that I'm perfect, but I think I'm good at what I do because I have my own flaws and have learned to overcome them. So I think because I've had some shitty experiences and some things I did to myself, I'm able to help others. So without my crazy story, I wouldn't be a good therapist.
So with that being said, tune in to, like, comment, subscribe on all platforms. Thank you for your continued support of the Reclamation Point podcast. We would not be doing this if we didn't think it would help, if we didn't think it was helping people. So thank you, Dr. Ed, for making Reclamation Point podcast be amazing, like, because them just sitting up hearing me babble and shit.
Oh no, man. I mean, I think what makes Reclamation Point work is the balance of both of us, and because we love and respect each other, people love and respect us.
Done. And so with that being said, we are out. Thank you to U42 Studios. Thank you to David and Yasmin for producing this thing. And we'll see you next week.
Peace out.